welcome to the final chapter of the main 7 books. It has been such a wonderful joy to bring this beloved series to life for you guys, and I genuinely hope you enjoyed listening to me read all 199 chapters. So without further ado, let's get started with the epilogue, shall we? Epilogue. 19 years later. Autumn seemed to arrive suddenly that year. The morning of the 1st of September was crisp and golden as an apple. And as the Nettle family bobbed across the rumbling road toward the great sooty station, the fumes of car exhaust and the breath of pedestrians sparkled like cobwebs in the cold air. 2 large cages rattled on top of the laden trolleys the parents were pushing. The owls inside them hooted indignantly, and the red-headed girl trailed tearfully behind her brothers, pressing her father's arm. "It won't be long, and you'll be going too," Harry told her. 2 years, sniffed Lily. "I want to go now." We know who that reminds us of, don't we? As the saying goes, like mother, like daughter. The commuter stared curiously at the owls as the family wove its way toward the barrier between platforms 9 and 10. Elvis's voice drifted back to Harry over the surrounding clamor. His sons had resumed the argument they had started in the car. "Oh, Southern! James, give it a rest," said Ginny. "Who said he might be?" said James, grinning at his younger brother. "There's nothing wrong with that. He might be," insisted. But James caught his mother's sigh and fell silent. The five Potters approached the barrier. With a slightly cocky look over his shoulder at his younger brother, James took the trolley from his mother and broke into a run. A moment later, he vanished. "Why won't you?" Albus asked his parents immediately, capitalizing on the momentary absence of his brother. "Every day you want us to," said Ginny. "Not every day," said Albus quickly. "James said most people only get letters from home about once a month. I wrote to James 3 times a week past year," said Ginny. "And you don't want to believe everything he tells you about Hogwarts," Harry put in. "He likes to laugh your brother." Side by side, they pushed the second trolley forward, gathering speed. As they reached the barrier, Elvis winced. But no collision came. Instead, the family emerged onto platform 9 3/4, which was obscured by thick white steam that was pouring out from the Scarlet Hogwarts Express. Indistinct fingers were scrolling through the mist, into which James had already disappeared. "Where are they?" asked Elvis anxiously, peering at the hazy forms they passed as they made their way down the platform. "We'll find them," said Ginny reassuringly. But the vapor was dense and it was difficult to make out anybody's faces. Detached from their owners, voices sounded unnaturally loud. Ooh, that's gotta be a nightmare. Harry thought he heard Percy discoursing loudly on broomstick regulations. It was quite one of the excuse not to stop and say hello. "I think that's them, Al," said Ginny suddenly. A group of 4 people emerged from the mist, standing alongside the very last carriage. Their faces only came into focus when Harry, Ginny, Lily, and Elvis had drawn right up to them. "Hi," said Elvis, sounding immensely relieved. Rose, who was already wearing her brand new Hogwarts robes, beamed at him. Like mother, like daughter, yet again. "Parked all right then?" Ron asked Harry. "I did. Marty didn't believe I could pass a muzzle driving test, did you?" She thought I'd have to confront the examiner. No, I didn't, said Hermione. I had complete faith in you. As a matter of fact, I did confront him, Ron whispered to Harry as they lifted Albus's trunk and out onto the train together. I forgot to look in the wing there. And let's face it, I can use a super sensory charm for that. Back on the platform, they found Lily and Hugo, Rose's younger brother, having an animated discussion about which house they would be sorted into when they finally went to Hogwarts. If you want Gryffindor, we just inherit you, said Ron, but no pressure. Ron! Lily and Hugo laughed, but Albus and Rose looked sullen. He doesn't mean it, said Hermione and Ginny, but Ron was no longer paying attention. Catching Harry's eye, he nodded covertly to point some 50 yards away. The scene had thinned for a moment, and 3 people stood in sharp relief against the shifting mist. Look who it is. Draco Malfoy was standing there with his wife and son, a dark coat buttoned up to his throat. His hair was receding somewhat, which emphasized the pointed chin. The new boy resembled Draco as much as Albus resembled Harry. Draco caught sight of Harry, Ron, Hermione, and Ginny staring at him, nodded curtly, and turned away again. That's middle school, yes, said Ron under his breath. Make sure you beat him in every test, Rosie. Thank God you inherited your mother's brains. Ron, for heaven's sake, said Hermione, half stormed, half amused. Don't try to turn them against each other before they even started school. You're right, sorry, said Ron, but unable to help himself. He added, don't get too friendly with him, though, Rosie. Granddad Weasley would never forgive you if you married a pureblood. Hey! James had reappeared. He had divested himself of his trunk, owl, and trolley, evidently bursting with news. Daddy's back there, he said breathlessly, pointing back over his shoulder into the billowing clouds of steam. Just seen him. And guess what he's doing? Stalking Victoire. He gazed up at the adults, evidently disappointed by the lack of reaction. Oh, Teddy! Teddy open! Stalking off Victoire, our cousin! And I asked Teddy what he was doing. You interrupted them, said Ginny. You were so like Ron. And he said you'd come to see her off. And then he told me to go away. He's stalking her. James added as though worried he had not made himself clear. It would be lovely if they got married, whispered Lily ecstatically. Teddy would really be part of the family then. I would not put that by them whatsoever. I really wouldn't. And on another note, I wonder if she's excited because she wants to be one of the Flower Girls. And yes, you heard that correctly. One of the Flower Girls. In the UK, they have 4 Flower Girls. Yeah, they have 4 Flower Girls. So I can definitely see Lily being one of the Flower Girls very happily. And I think that's why she's so ecstatic about the idea. But moving on. He already comes round for dinner about 4 times a week, said Harry. Why don't we just invite him to live with us and be done with it? Yeah, said James enthusiastically. I don't mind sharing with Al. Teddy could have my room. No, said Harry firmly. You and I will share a room only when I want the house demolished. Oh dear. Something tells me James definitely inherited mischief making. But then again, what can you expect? His full name is James Sirius Potter. Moving on. He checked the battered old watch that had once been Fabian Prewit's. It's nearly 11. You'd better get on board. Don't forget to give Neville our love, Ginny told James as she hugged Tim. Mom, I can't give a professor love. But you know, Neville. James rolled his eyes. Outside, yeah. But at school, he's Professor Longbottom, isn't he? I can't walk into a prodigy and give him love. Shaking his head at his mother's foolishness, he vented his feelings by aiming a kick at Elvis. See you later, Al. Watch out for the Thestrals. I thought they were invisible. You said they were invisible. But James merely laughed, permitted his mother to kiss him, gave his father a fleeting hug, then wept onto the rapidly filling train. They saw him wave, then sprint away up the corridor to find his friends. Thestrals are nothing to worry about, Harry told Elvis. They're gentle things. There's nothing scary about them. Anyway, you won't be going up to school in the carriages. You'll be going in the boats. Ginny kissed Albus goodbye. See you at Christmas. Bye, Al, said Harry as his son hugged him. Don't forget Hagrid's invited you to tea next Friday. Don't mess with Peeves. Don't go with anyone till you've learned how. And don't let James wind you up. What if I'm in Slytherin? The whisper was for his father alone, and Harry knew that only the moment of departure could have forced Albus to reveal how great and sincere that fear was. Harry crouched down so that Albus's face was slightly above his own. Alone of Harry's 3 children, Albus had inherited Lily's eyes. So that means James and Lily inherited Ginny's brown. That makes sense because green eyes are 2% of the world's population, and brown eyes are a dominant trait. So it does make sense. Albus Severus. Okay, I once saw this thing where it mentioned that Harry should have continued the Black family tradition of having celestial names. And honestly, I like that idea. But I also like how he honored Dumbledore and Snape. So it's like a double-edged sword for me. Because I can definitely see the appeal of celestial names. I mean, literally, one of the names I want to give a future daughter at some point is gonna be after a moon of Neptune. So I can see the appeal. But it's like, at the same time, I can also respect Harry's choice in wanting to honor Dumbledore and Snape. So, what's your verdict on this? Should Harry have continued the celestial naming from the Black family, or do you think he did right by honoring Dumbledore and Snape? Please let me know in the comments. But moving on. Harry said quietly so that nobody but Ginny could hear, and she was tactful enough to pretend to be waving to Rose, who was now on the train. You were named for 2 headmasters of Hogwarts. One of them was a Slytherin, and he was probably the bravest man I ever knew. But just say, then Slytherin House will have gained an excellent student, won't it? It doesn't matter to us how, but if it matters to you, you'll be able to choose Gryffindor over Slytherin. The Sorting Hat takes your choice into account. Really? It did for me, said Harry. He had never told any of his children that before, and he saw the wonder in Albus's face when he said it. But now the doors were slamming all along the Scarlet train, and the bored out lines of parents were swarming forward for final kisses, last minute reminders. Elvis jumped into the carriage, and Ginny closed the door behind him. Students were hanging from the windows nearest them. A great number of faces, both on the train and off, seemed to be turned toward Harry. Why are they all staring? Demanded Albus as he and Rose craned around to look at the other students. Don't let it worry you, said Ron. It's me. I'm extremely famous. Elvis, Rose, Hugo, and Willie laughed. The train began to move, and Harry walked alongside it, watching his son's thin face, already ablaze with excitement. Harry kept smiling and waving, even though it was like a little bereavement, watching his son glide away from him. The last trace of steam evaporated in the autumn air. The train rounded a corner. Harry's hand was still raised in farewell. He'll be all right, murmured Ginny. And as Harry looked at her, he lowered his hand absent-mindedly and touched the lightning scar on his forehead. I know he will. The scar hadn't pained Harry for 19 years. All was well. And that is the end of the epilogue. Thank you again for joining me on this wonderful, magical journey of reading Harry Potter. I hope you enjoyed it. Next week is a fun surprise. It's kind of like some bonus content for the Potter universe. I hope you stick around for that. But yeah, I hope you genuinely enjoyed me reading Harry Potter. I have more projects planned. I can't wait to get started on those for you guys to enjoy. But yep, that's it for the main 7 books. Again, thank you for your support. Join me next week for some fun bonus content. And until then, bye!